Hello everyone, in this video session we will see what is meant by the hardness of water, what are the different types of hardness and the unit to express the hardness. So let's begin with our topic, hardness of water and its types. So what is exactly meant by the hardness of water? Hardness, it is the characteristics of water and it is due to presence of dissolved salt of heavy metal ions. Which is the heavy metal ion? Calcium 2 plus, magnesium 2 plus, zinc 2 plus, aluminum 3 plus, manganese 2 plus. These are the dissolved salt of heavy metals ion. What is exactly meant by the hardness of water? Hardness, it is the characteristics of water and it is due to presence of dissolved salt of heavy metal ion. The heavy metal ion calcium 2 plus, magnesium 2 plus, zinc 2 plus, Mn 2 plus, Al 3 plus. Due to this, water becomes hard in nature, right? Then what are the different two types of hardness? There are two different types of hardness of water. Number one is that is temporary hardness and second one is permanent hardness, which is also called as carbonate and non-carbonate type of hardness. So this is the first one is carbonate hardness. This carbonate hardness is also called as temporary hardness or which is also called as alkaline hardness. The second type is non-carbonate hardness. This non-carbonate hardness is also called as permanent hardness or which is also called as non-alkaline hardness. So these are the two different types of what? Hardness. Now let's see what is exactly meant by the carbonate hardness and why it is called as the temporary hardness. See, carbonate hardness, the characteristics of the water and it is due to presence of dissolved salt of what? Carbonate and bicarbonate salt of calcium, magnesium and other heavy metals ions such as iron is called as what? Carbonate types of hardness. And this type of hardness, it can be easily removed by boiling. That's why it is called as what? Temporary hardness. So salt of carbonate is what? Calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, sodium carbonate. Bicarbonate salt is what? Calcium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate. These are the bicarbonate salt. So it is the characteristics of water and it is due to dissolved salt of what? Only carbonate and bicarbonate salt of calcium, magnesium and other heavy metal ions such as iron. Then this type of hardness is called as carbonate hardness or which is easily removed from the boiling. That's why it is called as temporary hardness. See, for example, the first one example is the calcium bicarbonate. Calcium bicarbonate on boiling, actually on boiling it is converted into what? Calcium carbonate, right? Precipitate is obtained plus water plus carbon dioxide is obtained. Means the insoluble salt is converted into what? Soluble carbonate, right? Again magnesium bicarbonate on boiling converted into what? Magnesium hydroxide. This is again the precipitate is obtained. So these two different examples of what? Your carbonate type of hardness. Means calcium bicarbonate converted into calcium carbonate, magnesium bicarbonate converted into magnesium hydroxide, precipitate is obtained and on filtration it can be easily removed from what? Boiling, from water sample, right? So this is your carbonate or temporary types of hardness. Then being almost insoluble deposit as well as a scale at bottom of vessel can be settled out. Scale is the hardened tub precipitate. So this is what? These insoluble impurities converted into what? A hard and tough precipitate form scale at the bottom and that can be easily removed by filtration techniques. Okay. Then second type is what? Non-carbonate hardness. Non-carbonate hardness, which is also called as permanent hardness, which is also called as non-alkaline hardness. The characteristics of water and it is due to presence of what? Dissolved salt of metals other than carbonate and bicarbonate. It is called as what? Your non-carbonate type of hardness. It is the characteristics of water and it is due to presence of other than carbonate and bicarbonate salt. So which is the other than carbonate and bicarbonate salt? Due to presence of chloride, sulfate, calcium, magnesium, iron salt. For example, magnesium chloride, calcium sulfate, calcium nitrate, magnesium nitrate. This type of salt is present into what? Water sample. Then this is called as what? Non-carbonate hardness or permanent hardness. Why it is called as the permanent hardness? Because it cannot be removed from the water sample after boiling also. That's why it is called as what? Your permanent hardness. See, there are two different types of water. First one is hard water and second one is what? Soft water. Now how we can find out this is the hard water and this is the soft water? When the soap solution test with water, when water is tested with soap solution, it does not form the leather but it forms the precipitate, then it is called as what? Your hard water, right? For example, the soap solution, soap is nothing but what? Higher salt of fatty acid, oleic acid, right? Palmic acid, stearic acid. This is called as what? Your soap solution. For example, sodium stearate. This is the sodium soap, right? And it comes in contact with what? Calcium chloride, and this is what? Due to non-carbonate hardness type of impurity. And then there is a formation of insoluble calcium stearate, right? Again, sodium stearate in presence of magnesium sulfate. Again, there is a formation of what? Insoluble magnesium stearate. These are the examples of what? Your non-carbonate type of hardness, right? Now, what are the different units of hardness? Hardness we can express in terms of what? ppm. This is called as parts per million. Okay. What is ppm? ppm means 1 parts of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness causing substance present in what? 10 raised to 6 parts of what? Water. This is called as what? ppm. Second one is milligram per liter, mg per liter. So 1 mg per liter, which is equal to what? 1 milligram of calcium carbonate equivalence hardness causing the substance present in what? 1 liter of the water sample, right? Then third unit is what? Degree Clarke. 1 degree Clarke equal to what? 1 part of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness in 70,000 parts of what? Water. It is called as degree Clarke. Then fourth unit is what? Degree French. Degree French is what? 1 part of calcium carbonate equivalent per 10 raised to 5 parts of water. So these are the units of hardness of water. Hardness we can express in terms of ppm, milligram per liter, degree Clarke, degree French. These are the units of what? Hardness of water. Then why calcium carbonate is selected for the expression of degree of hardness? Basically, the calcium carbonate molecular weight of calcium carbonate is what? 100, right? So the calculation part becomes what? Very convenient, right? Then this calcium carbonate is also insoluble in water. That's why calcium carbonate is selected for the expression of degree of hardness. For example, the calculation is what? Formula: calcium carbonate equivalent, which is equal to what? Mass of hardness producing substance into molecular weight of calcium carbonate, which is 100, divided by molecular weight of hardness producing substances, right? So due to this reason, calcium carbonate is selected for the expression of degree of hardness because its molecular weight is exactly 100. So calculation parts becomes convenient. And second one is it is water insoluble salt, right? So that's why calcium carbonate is useful. Now let's take the recap of our video. You have understood hardness of water. Hardness, it is the characteristics of water and it is due to presence of what? Dissolved salt of heavy metal ion. Which is the heavy metal ion? Calcium 2 plus, magnesium 2 plus, zinc 2 plus, Mn 2 plus, Fe2 plus, right? This is the hardness. Types of hardness, two different types. Number one is carbonate hardness. Second one is non-carbonate hardness, which is also called as temporary and permanent, which is also called as alkaline and non-alkaline type of hardness. What is the carbonate hardness? It is due to presence of what? Carbonate and bicarbonate salt of heavy metal ions, right? And non-carbonate hardness means what? Other than carbonate and bicarbonate salt, means calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, that is called as the non-carbonate type of hardness, right? Then you have also understood the units of hardness, 4 different types of unit. Which one? ppm, that parts per million, ppb, parts per billion, milligram per liter, right? Degree Clarke, degree French, these are the units of what? Hardness of water sample. So I hope that you understood the concept of hardness, their types, their units. So thank you very much.